All right, so we're at this stage where I'm looking at it, and again, my gut feeling about that AC unit is not a good idea for this particular problem, but I will go through it. If I were looking at this thing over here, the first thing I would do is I would look for small numbers to multiply to get 72. And I'm going to say, looking at it, I wouldn't choose 72 and 1 because, again, 72 is a large number. 36 and 2, I'm not saying it's not good, but I'm looking for something a little bit smaller than 36 and 2. So I'm going to say, you know what, maybe it's 9 and maybe it's 8. Now, if I say 9 times 8, that does give me 72. Now, I'm looking at the 49. So I'm not saying anything about, signs of it. I'm going to say probably 7 and 7. So I'll put down 7x and 7x. And again, I like to look for reasonable choices. If reasonable choices lead to outrageous outcomes, at least I'll know how to update the problem. Now, what I have to do now, I got to figure the signs out, and I know it's got to be one of those 7x has to be negative, and I'm looking at it, and I know the internal sum is positive, so I'm going to say this is plus, this is minus, but I would never say I'm right until I try it. That's the whole point of calling it trial and error. I got to try it. I'm hoping there's no error. What do you get over here? 72 plus 63x minus 56x minus 49x squared. The beauty of trial and error is this, though. You're always, if you understand what we're talking about, going to get the first and the last term. Always. The question is, are you getting the middle? Well, let's take a look at it. That adds up to 7. Bingo, you're done. No matter what I do with this problem, this will be the answer. Right, now I'm going to tell you why I believe the AC method is such a bad idea for this particular problem. It's the multiplication of the A times the C. So, and again, you're allowed to use calculator, I realize that. A times C, what's that going to be? 72 times 49. Well, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but A times C turns out to be, minus 49. It turns out to be minus 3, 5, 2, 8. Now, if you thought 72 and 49 were big numbers, you're probably thinking that's outrageously big. Here comes my problem. I got to find two numbers that multiply to give me that number, and I have to find two numbers, the same two numbers, by the way, that add up to 7. In other words, they differ by 7. I got to be honest with you, I find that much more challenging than this up here. Much more challenging. But can I do it? Of course I can do it. Does it take more time for me? It does for me. Other people say no, it takes them less time. But I'm going to say 63. You're going to see this in the actual work too, by the way, and 56. Of course, those two numbers add together to 7, as we know from our trial and error technique over here. All right. So what do you do then? You got to take the middle term, which is 7x, and split it up into 63x minus 56x. Order doesn't matter. Then you factor by grouping, and no matter what you do, you're going to get the factor 8 plus 7x and the factor 9 plus 7x. That's the beauty of factorization. It isn't like one road leads somewhere and another road leads somewhere else. They always lead to the same thing, all right? No matter what you do. All right. And by the way, there's other ways to factor besides the way we're telling you to do. Again, I actually like trial and error. Some people like AC. And by the way, there's two separate camps, all right? I'm in the camp of trying, all right? By the way, I still see the AC technique as trying. I just see the trying to be more difficult in a large number of cases because of the size of that number. Thank you.